What's up, nerds? So, I finally got around to him. I know I didn't really prelude to having this guy out in the past reviews, but today we are taking a look at the Transformers Siege Earthrise. Earthrise Galvatron. And holy sweet Jesus, this guy is everything that I've ever wanted in a Galvatron figure. Everything. He looks like they just took him straight out of the screen. Not just from the Transformers War for Cybertron Netflix series, but also from the G1 cartoon. He just looks absolutely amazing. Just perfect. The best Galvatron that we've received by far. So, quick look at the details. Nice battle damage weathering on the chest, on the arms there. Get a bit of dirt weathering at the bottom of the shins. Nice detail all the way around. Now, I know on the camera, just mentioned this very quickly, that it does look like two different colours of purple. But when you actually hold them in hand, it doesn't show up that obviously. Like, it wasn't until I started recording this that I noticed those two distinct colours. So don't let this video make you think he's going to look mismatched. He does not. In hand, he does not. Nice detailing on the back there. As you can see, everything just cleans up so nicely. His fusion cannon. Nice paint gradient at the tip or at the base. And just transparent orange plastic for the entire cannon. Now, just on the cannon, you do have two options in terms of placement. Me personally, I like to place it where it is now. That, for me, is the best place to have it, because when Galvatron articulates his arms, the cannon should go with it, just like with Megatron. But if you don't like it there, you can always, as I drop it, put it up here on his bicep. So it's your figure, you can show it off wherever way you want, but me personally, I like to have it attached to the forearm, especially considering that this is Megatron 2.0, and Megatron's cannon has always been attached to his forearm. Quick look at the head sculpt here, if the camera will focus a bit. Now, I know things are being over glared and I do apologise. Have to unfortunately use the flashlight that's on my camera because things are a little bit too dark. It was nice and sunny before I started recording this and is now gone dull as hell and is raining like crazy. But either way, nice head sculpt. They managed to get the eyes so well. They stand out. They're not hidden. They're not dulled away. The abs, very glossy abs there. And if the light hits it right, it does make it look like that the abs are just glowing. Nice red picked out in his kneecaps. Black on the toes. And everything just looks so well on this guy. So, jumping straight into his accessories. First one that he comes with is, of course, the Matrix of Leadership. Now, it's on a plain grey plastic chain that does have a little bit of give. It's not rigid, but it's not soft either, so it does hold its shape quite well. And the Matrix that is on it, now, does come off, so I'll just remove that there quickly. As you can see, so well picked out. And yes, it is the exact same Matrix that came with the Earthrise Optimus Prime, the Studio Series, and Commander Class Hot Rod and Rodimus Prime, the Studio Series Ultra Magnus, and a few other figures as well. So if you lose this or lose any of theirs and you own all those figures, you will have replacements. And on the chain itself, just a nice 5mm peg, which means that yes, you can do bluish effects on the back of this matrix. And as you see here, has a nice, not nice, why do I keep saying that? It has a tab here, which goes right into this part of his chest, but that is more for his alt mode. And as well as the matrix, now we'll just put that right here. And that in itself, I think does look pretty cool. Nice callback to the 1986 cartoon. Now, actually, just honest with that mentioned, I am going to say right now, I called this with Studio Series Blaster. I said that they are going to use the Siege mold for Studio Series Blaster, and sure enough, just a few days later, they did. So I'm saying that if they release an 86 Studio Series version of this guy, this is going to be the mold that they'll use. They will make a couple of alterations, probably with the plastic, like instead of transparent, have it as solid plastic. Obviously the paint deco will be different, but it is going to be this mold, and I'm calling it right now. Anyway, back to the accessories. He does come with obviously his fusion cannon, which does come off, and I'll show that in transformation, and it comes in 2 pieces. And he also comes with his gun. Now, for anybody who's seen the 86 film, this gun is very, very reminiscent of his ship that Unicron gave him, the Revenge. But not just 1, 2. Both of them molded the exact same way, just basic grey plastic. They look very nice together. And not only does he have 2 of them, so he can hold them in both hands if you so wish, but they do peg together to make a 4-barreled, technically octuple barreled, an 8-barreled gun, technically speaking. But as well as that, and yes, he can hold them when they're combined like this, but as well as that, on the back, he does have 2 tabs right there, which you can tab into 2 different spots on the guns. The instructions want you to tab it down here, but me personally, I'm not too crazy on how that looks. I prefer to use this port right here, and I'll show you why right now. That's if I do use these guns on the back. But you can see right there, if you use the recommended tab, they're sticking up so far. But if you use the tab that I suggested, you barely even notice it. Now, that's if I have them displayed on the back, which, like I said, I rarely do. When I display this guy, he's usually like this, or like that. I know, drastic difference. It's like 2 completely different figures. But that is how I usually display him. And just to show off that he can actually hold his guns, I don't know why he needs them. He has a big ass fusion cannon right here. Now, just on that note, one small point of contention I have is just the top joint of his elbow. That one right there is fairly loose. Or is it the bottom joint? No, it's the top joint. No, I can tighten that up. Bit of floor polish will take care of that, no problem. But because he has the double jointed elbow, you can still get him into a decent pose there. So it's not that big an issue. But like I said, you can tab the guns in or peg the guns into any hand and have that look going on if you wish. Just get them out of the way. So for articulation, there is something that I would need to address on that. So for articulation, he is actually packing, and I mean packing. Anything that can be moved, or should I say anything that should be moved, can be moved, with one exception, maybe two. But anyway, his arms can do the full 360. They can go in and out, and you can go all the way up there. You do have bicep rotation, but in order to use it, as per instructions, they want you to tab the treads into the back of the shoulder. So if you want to use the bicep rotation, you need to untab those treads, which will free up the bicep rotation. And the treads tab in to this port right here, no, well, screw hole, via that tab. But yeah, all you have to do is untap that. And as you've seen earlier, he does have full articulated elbow bend. Now that is due to transformation, but I will take it. I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever. He does have wrist rotation, and because of transformation, the wrist does move in and out. His head is on a ball joint, so you do get that bobble head going there. He does have ab rotation, but because of the way the backpack is here, you don't get a full 360 on it, unfortunately, but you get more than enough to get decent poses for wherever you want. The hip skirts can move out of the way. Now this is more for transformation, but yes, they can move out of the way, and the legs can move forward that far, move back only that far because of the backpack. They can go out to the side, so you get just slightly under the full splits. Knees, just slightly under 90 degrees there, and there is no toe pivot, but you do get his heel or heel support to go up and down, and you do get about that much of an ankle pivot. But if you go further than that, then that's when you start to disengage things and start transforming the legs. So while it is limited, it is more than enough posability, more than enough for what you want with this guy. Now, also as well, if for whatever reason you need them to move, I don't imagine why you would, but his shoulder pads can move as well. So for comparison, here he is with the Siege Cyclonus. I think they work quite well together. And again, this guy, he's going to be the mold for the Studio Series Cyclonus. I'm calling that right now. Now, there are issues with this guy, but I will talk about them in a later review. Here he is with the Studio Series Sweep, but I still call it Scourge. It's the exact same mold, just slight coloration difference and one minor mold difference. And here he is with his previous self, the Siege Megatron. And that, to me, that looks so good. So, for transformation, first thing that I do, remove his fusion cannon. Just put that off to the sides. That will come back into play later. Then just raise his arms up, flip his fists in. They won't go in all the way, so you will have them sticking out a little bit, just like that. Then come down to the legs, flip in his heel spurs, just like that. These purple pieces, just get them, flip them out, and they will peg in this tab into this port right here, just like that, and rinse and repeat on the other side. So with that done, you just want to turn his legs outward just like that, and again tab and tab into port and notch, and just tab them together like that. So leave him like that for now. Next thing is just to get his arms, and you'll have this tab here into this notch here, using that double elbow, and just line it up as best you can and tab it in just like that. We'll leave this here just for now. Rinse and repeat on the other side. Line it up with the greatest of ease. And as always, Go discovered this, and now I am too. When the camera's on, things like to fight you. So once you have his arms in this configuration, you can then get the tank treads, I guess, cannon treads, and they are on a ball joint, or sorry, no, not a ball joint. They're on this hinge system right there. Don't know how well you can see that, but you have a hinge at the base right there, and then a hinge here, and another hinge deep inside the base of the tank treads themselves. But just working with all those hinges, just bring the treads down, sit them against the arm like that, so they will be sitting at an angle just like that, and do the same for the other side. Now if you do have the treads tabbed into this port, obviously unpeg and just bring them in, and they are, now you can see a bit better the different hinges I was talking about from this angle here, but the hinges are adjustable on their angle, just like that. So just get his hip skirts forward and out of the way as I readjust myself. And here, just unpeg the back piece, leave it there just like that for now, and you will see that there's actually more detail exposed as you move along, and they really went all out on the detail of this guy, like things here that you're never going to see unless you're transforming it, but they still done it. And that is phenomenal, absolutely amazing. So unpeg the arms. Now with the arms, they are tabbed in two places. So you have this tab right here, which goes into that slot right there, and you have this tab right here that goes into that slot. Don't know how well you can see that. This tab here that goes into that slot there. So you just want to unpeg them like that on both sides. So unpeg, bring down, and you're left with that setup there. Next, you just want to bring the chest, oh no, sorry, before you go with the chest, use the ab crunch. That only becomes available when you have them like this. You then want to get this back piece, open it up like that, bring the head, which is securely tabbed in, unless I'm doing something wrong, yes. So this is when you lift up the chest, which brings up the head, and you bring the whole lot, have the head nestled in there just like that. And with that done, you bring the chest down, so it's sitting just like this, and then close all this back up with a nice satisfying snap. With that done, you then rotate on this hinge here, so just so you can see when he's in robot mode. Oh, and when going into robot mode, that tab will go into that slot right there. But when going back into cannon mode, just angle all that forward and get his waist, rotate it down just like that. Sorry for the camera cut there. I made this slight mistake. So this is the configuration that we were left in, and no, you don't rotate everything down. Instead, you bring the legs back like this, and this piece, you have a sin like that there. So you're left sitting with something similar to this here. And if things come unpegged, make sure to tab it all in together nice and securely. Oh yeah, and at the back here, make sure to tab them in as well. That was my mistake. I'm only human. So once you've done that, bring this back piece up with this piece here, and just, it's on a double hinge. So you have a piece here and then a piece there that can be angled. Just bring that back like this, and you'll have a gap underneath here that will go over this tab right there. And just tab that into place right there, just like that. So once you're getting to this position here, lift this piece up, keep angling it forward. It will sit down in here like that, nice and flush. Keep bringing the legs up, and you will have this tab and this tab here that will go into these two ports right there. Just peg all that in nice and securely. Now you will have to make sure that these hip skirt pieces are brought forward for this. I will say, when I was first transforming this guy, I thought, because the instructions weren't super clear on this, I thought that these pieces here just sat underneath something like that. And while they do sit underneath, that's not the entirety of what you do. And I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but I feel like this should be tabbed in somewhere. Maybe I am doing something. Maybe I'm not. Hold on, back in a sec. Okay, sorry about that again. I was wrong and right at the same time. So this, while it doesn't tab in, you do have a tab right here. I don't know how well you can see that, but there is a tab right there that just rests into this notch right here. So when you close that down like that, it is going to be loose. However, this is what keeps it in place. So you have this tab here on both sides that will go into, don't know how well you can see this, but we'll go into this notch right there, just underneath the hip skirt, right there. So with the hip skirt just lined up, so you're getting it ready, because this tab here will go into that slot right there. But before you do, just get the arms orientated, and that tab that I showed you, line up with that notch, and on this shoulder piece, just push until it snaps into place, and that will lock this into place. So rinse and repeat on the other side. And there you go. And when you have everything in the exact position it's meant to be, these hip skirt pieces will be able to close and tab onto the shoulder pads. So once you're at this point, you can then get the legs, bring them down like this, and you have this support piece, which you bring down like that. Just adjust the arms so that everything's sitting properly. And now you bring back the cannon. So just remove this bit for now, and you get the cannon, just plug it in right here, right there, just like that. And this piece goes into this port right here, and you just tab it in just like that. And there you are, Galvatron in his mobilized cannon mode. And yeah, this is honestly the definitive, undeniable best mainline Galvatron that has ever been released. Yes, sure, there are some third parties out there that have done their own Galvatrons, and yeah, they have done great jobs on them. But for an official release, this is just hands down the best one. Now, just on a quick note, I know for myself, this particular setup for the cannon, I was not too happy with. Because I remember in the 86 movie, Galvatron was more angled up when he transformed. But there's an easy fix for that. All you do is just angle these back, and using the ankle joints, you can just bring this back all you want, and using the shoulder joints or arm joints, whatever you want to call them, leg joints for the tank mode, just finagle them around, adjust the treads, and you can have them in his more cartoon accurate configuration. But it's your toy, you can show it off any way you want. Me personally, I'll probably, if I ever have them on display in cannon mode, it will be like this here. So just going back to the accessories there for a second, with his matrix, or should I say Optimus Prime's matrix, remember this tab that I talked about? So if you just put this matrix over the barrel of the cannon like that, you will have this notch right here that tab will go into, tab in there just like that, and there you have Galvatron still wearing Optimus Prime's matrix. And as for his revenge, I mean his guns, using this notch on both and these tabs on both sides of the cannon, you can tab it in on the bottom one just like that, and just like that. But be careful, because his shoulders can collapse. But anyway, you get the idea there. Now, I know that those look imposing, extremely imposing. Like, if anybody was facing a cannon like this, I know I'd be changing my trousers very soon. But for me personally, I will be displaying Galvatron just as his base self, because Galvatron doesn't need accessories. So for comparison, here is Galvatron with Cyclonus, and I think they look really well together, really well. Here's not Cyclonus, Galvatron with Scourge. I know it's a sweep, but I don't have Scourge, so it's my toy. I'll call it wherever I want. And finally, here is Galvatron with his past self, Megatron, just to see how they scale with each other there. And just before we wrap up, quick look at the details revealed in canon mode, most of which we have seen all before, but this just looks so cool in my opinion. Now, it would have been brilliant if they could have engineered a light up feature for this, which I'm pretty sure a third party company has already done. If not, do it. But yeah, he just comes together so well. Amazing figure. especially when you compare him to the likes of the Titan's Return Galvatron or the G1 version, the toy. What in God's name were they thinking? But anyway, should you get this figure? Hell yeah. It doesn't matter what version it is. If it is this one, if it is the Earthrise repackage of them, or if they, which I'm saying right now, they are going to release this guy, this figure, this mold as the Studio Series Galvatron. Unless they find a way to improve this guy, this is what's going to be the Studio Series Galvatron. And depending how they deco it, I may or may not get it. We'll see. But should you get it? Yes. What version should you get? Doesn't matter. Now, if you want the cleaner Galvatron without all the battle damage and the dirt all over him, go for the Earthrise. Or not the Earthrise, sorry, apologies. The Kingdom Galvatron. But if it doesn't bother you, whatever one you come across first, get him, get him, get him. Anyway, this has been my look of the Kingdom. I'm getting tongue-tied. Why am I getting tongue-tied? This has been my look at the Earthrise Galvatron. So everybody stay safe, stay nerdy, and I'll see you all again.